Hey everybody, this is Lewie coming at you once again. Uh, I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First and foremost, this is for the state troopers of New York State. Uh, when a person sees something that's a little unusual, they may stop to try and see if you're okay and help you out. And that happened today with me. I was on my way to Cortland from Lockwood, which is a fairly long trip. And I'm going down 86 East, and I look over, and there's an officer. He's just outside of Nichols. He's parked along the road, no lights on. He's in an area where there's a lot of field and woods, and he's just sitting alongside the road. Now, I couldn't see him in there. He didn't have any lights on. There was nobody around him. I'll be honest with you, I found that quite unusual because the way normally when you see state troopers, they're in the median or on an overpass or something. So I went to Nichols, I turned around, I came all the way back, and I pulled up behind him, and I got out of the truck, and I kept my hands in the open so he can see. I even pulled my wallet out so I could have my ID ready for him if he was in the car. I couldn't see through the windows because they were all dark, shaded. And when I got up to the driver's side window, he had it down, which was great. I was able to see in there and see that he was okay. And I said, I was just checking to make sure you're okay, officer. I'm sorry. And instead of saying thank you, which I really didn't care about, or saying he's okay, he started chewing me out for stopping. And I tried to explain to him. I said, listen, normally when I see police officers on the highway clocking, they're in the median or on an overpass. I've never seen them parked alongside the road. I found that kind of unusual, and I figured I'd better check it out to make sure he was okay, especially with the location he was in. He said to me he would do his job the way he sees fit. That's fine with me. I don't care. I mean, he could put wings on his car and clock from above us for all I'm concerned, but he could have been a little nicer about it. I mean, I took time out to make sure he didn't need help, to make sure he was okay. And instead of, you know, being okay with that, he wanted to chew me out. So, whatever. So I'm just going to say to the state troopers that, listen, if you're going to be wearing that Superman costume, put a big red S on your car so that people like me know you're going to be okay. All right? We won't stop then. That's all I can say is put the big red S for Superman on your car, and we'll know not to stop, that you got it all under control and that you'll never need our help. All right? Now, on to the real reason why I'm doing this, the original reason. I was watching a video. This teacher, history teacher, from Pine Valley, New York. Now, I'm not talking about the Pine Valley just outside of Elmira area. This Pine Valley is over by Lake Erie, I guess. Anyways, they were at a school board meeting, and she stood up, she took the microphone, and she says, I'll probably be fired by the time I get done with this, but that's okay. She says, but it needs to be said. And then she went on talking about the 10 steps of genocide. She said to look it up. And so I did. During her speech, this is what she mentioned. There was a lot she's talked about the vaccines and everything else. But I did look up the 10 steps of genocide, and I found it quite interesting. What I would like for you to do is to listen to what I'm saying, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, but I don't want you to go by my thoughts. I want you to think about it for yourself and see if you come up with, the same thing I'm coming up with. There's a lot to it. There's 10 steps of genocide. First step is classification. Hold on, I can't read with my glasses on. But the first step is classification. And basically that's identify different types of people, then disrespect those who are different. And that's happening. Anti-vaccinations, anti-maskers, Trump supporters, etc. We're being disrespected. Symbolism. That's a visual manifestation of hatred. For example, signs stating, if you're not vaccinated, wear a mask. That's like borderline, but that's what I come up with as far as symbolism goes. And there's other symbols out there. And I think if, you look for them, you'll see them. Then there's the discrimination. Now, we all know what discrimination is. A good example that applies to what's going on right now is you can't get into certain airlines or cruise ships without a vaccine. Medical personnel are losing their jobs because they don't want to be vaccinated. Or if you're not vaccinated, they're going to be forcing testing. My employer is doing that starting the 12th, I guess. They're going to be forced testing if you're not vaccinated. Then there's this thing called dehumanization. Now, I didn't write down the definition of it, so I don't really remember it. But Joe Biden has referred to those of us that are refusing vaccination as killers. And he stated that those of us without vaccination are killing the vaccinated. And if that isn't dehumanization, nothing is. Now, organization. I don't believe this is happening just yet, but in a sense it is. But this is where they're planning and training to prepare to destroy those who are different. So I don't know if that's happening yet, but it could. Let's see, there's polarization. This is where they begin creating fear in the victim group. And to some degree, this has been happening. They've been trying to instill fear of your job, instill fear of being able to do things that, you would normally be able to do, and they're saying you won't be able to if you don't get this vaccine. Then there's the persecution and extermination, which is the act of getting rid of us. And then there's the denial. All right, the 10th step is denial, and that's already happening. They deny that any of the rest of this stuff is happening. So, I mean, we're up to number 7, okay? Or 6, rather. We're up to number 6. This is the organization part of it. I believe that's happening. They just haven't really made it an announcement on that yet. And they're doing a little bit of number 7, and they're already doing number 10. So, if you think about it, we may be in the process of getting a genocide going here in this country, and those of us who are refusing vaccinations and masks could end up being up the creek without a paddle. And if that's the case, we need to be ready to defend ourselves. This is the same steps that Hitler took when he was in charge of Nazi Germany. This is the same steps that it was taken in, the hell's the name of that country? I can't think of it, but it was happening during the 80s and 90s. But these are the same steps that have happened in every time there's been a genocide. So, I want you to keep it in mind. I want you to go through and find your own examples if you can. Or correct me if I'm wrong with my examples. I'd appreciate it because, quite frankly, I find it kind of worrisome. I really do. All right, so that's going to be it. The other thing is, state troopers, put a big red S on your car if you don't want somebody to stop and help you if you need it. All right, thanks. Bye.